listening to a podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants with hosts Willie Dills, Chad King, and Ben Lee.
Let's go Giants! SF Giants! Let's go Giants! SF Giants! Dedicated to the greatest team in Major League Baseball history, the San Francisco Giants. This is Torture Cast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Today is April 15th. I hope you've done your taxes. My name is Willie Dills, and we're ready to talk about the Giants, who are in first place in the National League West after a couple weeks now of baseball in 2013. And I'm joined, of course, by my co-host, Mr. Chad King. What's up, Chad? How you doing, man?
What's up? Happy Tax Day and happy Jackie Robinson Day, actually.
Oh, that's right. Is that today or tomorrow?
It's today.
Oh, so today. Oh, so every team wore number 42 today.
Supposedly, yeah.
And the Giants didn't play.
No, they didn't play today. I did look up on the Giants website. I was looking at some roster information, and I'd forgotten about it. And they changed everybody's roster numbers to 42, even on the website.
So we didn't play, but at least we participated somehow. So that's
right.
Cool. All right. Episode 45 is, of course, the Terry Mulholland episode, and we were just reminiscing. Terry Mulholland, my biggest memory of him is the guy who got the ball stuck in his glove and decided to chuck it over to first base instead of trying to figure out how to get it out of his glove. And that was on like every blooper reel for years.
Hey, man, it's thinking on your feet, you know?
Exactly. I mean, hey, if you can't get the ball out, figure something out. Get it over there, get the out. And this guy also went to the Phillies and then threw a no-hitter against the Giants. Faced 27 batters. The minimum got one guy reached on an error, and then he got a double play. So that's basically a perfect game. That kind of sucks when like a pitcher loses that perfect game because of an error. I mean, you remember Jonathan Sanchez lost the perfect game because of an error by Uribe.
Yeah, that's right.
And basically it's like an extra perfect game. That's more than a perfect game. You got 28 outs, basically, you know?
Well, that's the whole thing, is that a no-hitter is only contingent upon the pitcher. For the most part, obviously, defense can save you with great plays and all that. But as far as an error costing you a perfect game, there's nothing you can do about that as a pitcher.
Yeah, a perfect game is a team. It's a team achievement, basically.
Yeah, it's more of a team effort.
And you look at Matt Cain's perfect game last year, clearly that was a team achievement. I mean, that there should have been a triple. There should have been a home run. There should have been several
the ball that
things.
was blown back. And then, of course, Blanco's amazing catch.
And then Blanco's ridiculously amazing catch. But Mulholland also, one other quick note about Terry Mulholland, one of the only players who have beaten every major league team as a pitcher when he went to the Minnesota Twins. So he was in the American League and the National League and was able to beat every single major league team.
Except for the expansion teams, right?
Pretty crazy. Well, I guess, yeah. He probably hasn't beaten the Washington Nationals, I'm guessing.
Well, I guess I'll count that as the Expos, though. So
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, so he's done it, sure. But, all right, so we got a lot to talk about. Giants are 9-4 at this point, and I think a game and a half ahead of the Dodgers. We're a half game ahead of two teams right now, but I'm looking at the Dodgers as the team that we need to worry about, and we're a game and a half up on them. So that's pretty good right now. If you think about last year, we were hovering around 500, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, you've actually put it in the show notes here. You got 7-6.
Got it right here. Yeah, we
3.5 back
after 13 games last year. This time, so 2 games better.
And you know what? 2 games better at this point is a ton better. I mean, 9-4 compared to 7-6, that looks amazingly better. So 5-1 since our last show, and we had a pretty ridiculous series against the Cubs. We're definitely going to talk about. But right now, you got to feel good as a Giants fan because I got to say, it doesn't seem like the Giants have it all going right now. But we're finding ways to win ball games. I mean, we got a lot of guys who have kind of found their groove, but you look at Buster Posey, you look at Brandon Belt, they're still struggling pretty hard. And I think Posey actually got his first hit of the Cubs series in the last game.
Yeah, he ended an 0 for 10 skid, actually.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing.
Wearing it rough.
When you have slumps throughout a year, every ball player will have week-long, maybe more slumps throughout an 162-game season. When you have it at the beginning of the year, it just looks so much worse.
It just looks worse, doesn't it?
Yeah, as you come up to bat, you're batting 150, 160, and he's batting, I think, like 220, 230 right now. So, but he's had some quality games, and I think he almost hit for the cycle the other day. And, it is what it is. I don't think we're worried about Posey long-term as far as the season goes.
No. He's never struggled any time in his college or major league career, so I don't anticipate anything going south for him. I mean, he's probably not going to win the MVP again, but you can't ask for that. So,
well, I think he will again at some point in his career.
At some point,
I feel like
this year,
I feel like Posey is going to be a perennial All-Star, perennial MVP candidate. Just one of those guys he's going to bat third, fourth, fifth, whatever is deemed the appropriate place depending on the lineup around him, and he's going to be middle of the order for the Giants for the next 8 years. So I'm not worried about this guy at all.
No.
Definitely not worried about this guy. Brandon Belt, we know he had his great spring, and then he got sick at the beginning of the year, and he's shown flashes. He's definitely shown flashes, and I think we know what he's capable of, and I think I personally am not feeling like I need to worry about him either, because I do feel like he is at the point in his career where he's a professional hitter, and he's going to pull it together. And he may be slumping now, but I think it has more to do with outside influences, not just he's not going to pull it together. I'm not worried about Brandon Belt the way I was maybe a year and a half ago.
Well, let's talk about this. We have some of these big guys struggling. We have Belt struggling, Posey struggling. Scudero has been picking it up. He had a 3-hit game the other day. He's hitting like 286 now or so. But the team batting average is actually second in the National League at 272 right now. So overall, the team's hitting just fine. Just when these guys are cold, other guys are picking up the slack. And it's going to change. It's going to flip-flop, and they're not going to hit 272 for the year. But, offensively, they're performing great. 298 with runners in scoring position and 315 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. And that's really generated a lot of their key offense, including all the comeback wins they've been having lately.
No, that's a fantastic stat to look at, because that is, when you talk about when you get to 2 outs, the only way to get guys in is a base hit. And when you're hitting above 300 with guys on base and 2 outs, guys in scoring position and 2 outs, there's a lot of runs you're picking up off the floor right there.
Absolutely.
So that's a great stat to look at. By the way, Barry Zito is our offensive secret weapon. Have you noticed this?
Yeah, he's 3 for 4 this year now?
He's 3 for 4. He's got an RBI and 2 runs scored. What the hell's going on here? I mean, he's always looked like the weakest hitter of all of our pitchers. Bumgarner, Vogelsong, those guys are supposed to be able to hit. Lincecum is like a child at the plate, but whatever. And Zito is just like this weird slap-happy hitter who can't really do anything. Cain, we know, can go yard. Suddenly, Zito is the one picking it up. I don't get it, but whatever. I'm not going to question it. Let's just roll with it. And also, got to give a big shout-out to Nick Noonan for coming through with a 3-hit night the other night that really helped us pull that ball game out. I mean, that was a fantastic outing for him, and feels good as a Giants fan to watch a young kid come up. He's batting 500 now at this point.
Yeah, he's hitting 500 right now. Yeah,
and he struggled a little bit early, and he finally got his first hit. It was only 4 at bats or whatever, but he finally got his first hit, and you didn't think he was going to get a lot of chances, but he got a start and he got 3 hits and got him right one after another too. Just bang, bang, bang. First 3 times at the plate, got 3 hits. So really, really good to see that going. And Pagan at the top of the order has been doing a fantastic job. He's really been setting the table, and already got a triple. Him and Posey are the only guys with triples.
Yeah, Posey with a stand-up triple.
And also somehow 6 RBIs. Although here's the one negative stat for Pagan right now. He's been caught stealing twice in his 3 attempts, which is, I don't think that's going to be a trend that continues. But, it's a little bit worrisome. Maybe he's just not picking the right spots. Maybe, there's something kind of hampering him. And I know he got hurt. He hurt his wrist in Chicago. But, he does look a little bit like the explosiveness on his jumps is a little bit, it's not quite there. But I'm not concerned about that for a full season. Hunter Pence, on the other hand, stealing bases left and right. He's got 3 already, and he's got
3 and 0 caught, yeah.
Yeah, so he's also got 13 strikeouts, but whatever. It's cool. It's cool, Hunter Pence. Just keep hitting bombs when we need 1 with 2 strikes and 2 outs in the ninth. Just keep doing that. But so big week. Let's talk about the week that we just had. Now, the Giants in the last week since our last show have come back 4 times. Not just come back from 1-2 runs.
No.
Come back from 5 runs. Twice, I believe, right? 5 runs twice?
I think it was 5 runs once, and then by 4 or 3 or 4 runs several times, including twice in one game.
It's been at least 4 comeback wins for sure. Mm-hmm. And not only did we come back and win these games, but these were games that pretty much looked lost. Not just, we're down 5-0. I mean, just looked lost. Like, we didn't look like we had it that day. And then found a way to battle back. And it's been a really, really fun thing to watch as a Giants fan, to watch the Giants be able to just have that never say die attitude, the same way they had in the playoffs last year. It's just kind of rolled over into the season. So, if you think about it, any team that wins 95, 96 games in a year, they're going to have to do this probably a handful of times, maybe 15 times, right? They're going to have to come back and win games. We've already done this now 4 times.
3 times. Four comebacks, but the one was stalled by Romo's.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That's true. We came back and we didn't win that game. Right. But still, we made that comeback. But if you think about it, through a course of a year, you got to do it at least 15 or 16 times, right? Mm-hmm. To win that many games. The Giants have already done it a bunch of times. And it just has to give the team confidence that no game is gone. No game is lost. There's no reason to give up anymore. Unless we're losing 14-2 against the Cardinals, we got a shot, So as a Giants fan, like, how does this make you feel? Like, Chad, do you think like this is like an offensive juggernaut of a team, or is this just a team that just knows how to never quit?
Yeah, their moxie is better than this time in the regular season last year, or really the last few years. The only caveat I would say to this is that they've done most of this, or pretty much all of this, against the Rockies and the Cubs.
True.
But this is what they should do, because both teams, they were down to 4 or 5 runs, and they relied on a mix of hitting, but also mistakes by the other team. Some walks, balks, errors, that kind of thing. So they've definitely had a little bit of help, but it's not to say that they can't do this against the Dodgers and the Cardinals. We're going to take it. But if it's going to come down to the Giants and the Dodgers, and it's going to be 2 or 3 game difference between them, these are the kind of wins that's going to pick up that difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
but the other
by the
thing,
way, I do apologize for my voice tonight. Allergies are acting up a little bit.
Oh, it's that season.
A little raspy, a little windy out.
Honestly, Chad, it's sexy, dude. Don't worry about it. It's
just go low.
It's real sexy. So here's the thing about this, though. To me, is that you can say it's the Rockies. Yeah, you can say it's the Cubs, but the Rockies had won 5 in a row when they came in.
That's true.
And they were a hot team. They were a hot team, and we turned that right around. We turned them into a cold team real quick. And then the Cubs, sure, the Cubs are the Cubs, and they're probably going to lose in the vicinity of 100 games this year, I would say. I mean, that's not a good team over there.
No, it's not a good team.
But I will say this, though. We played those games in Wrigley Field in icy cold weather, which should help the Cubs because those are the guys who have played in that kind of weather before. And one of those games, honestly, the game we lost, we basically lost that game to wind. Yeah. 3 home runs, 3 solo shots by the Cubs players. None of them looked like home runs off the bat.
Not at all.
Every single one of those looked like a fly ball to the right field. And they just carried and went out. The Giants put together some rallies, but didn't hit the ball in the air. All we had to do was pop the ball up, and we just weren't doing that. We were just hitting line drives. And, honestly, that's the team we have. We're not a big fly team necessarily, and the Cubs have a lot of guys who kind of lift in their swings. So those guys are going to benefit from a day like that in Chicago, whereas we did not. But
it's 4 games against the Cubs, and the only home run we hit was Pence's 2-out, 2-strike home run in the last game.
Which was massive, by the way. And also that home run, that looked to me, when he hit it, that looked like it was off the end of the bat. And that thing cleared the fences by a good 5-6 rows.
I thought the same thing when I slowed down the replay, and that sucker hit near the end of the bat. I don't know how he got the good wood on it to get it out. I have no idea.
Powerful man,
Maybe he hit it 3 times again or something.
Yeah, exactly. Hit the bat 3 times, and each time picked up a little extra oomph. You could say that these were poor teams that we put this, together against, but I will argue back that doesn't matter who the team is. We're all going to play a schedule that's relatively equal, and we have to win the games against the teams we're supposed to win. So,
I can't recall any stretch of 7 games or whatever where the Giants had 4 comebacks like this.
No,
and really 5, because one of these games they came back twice. So
that's true. Actually, yeah, we went up 6-4, and then they went up 7-6.
Yep.
And then we came back again, and then won the game 10-7. Looked like we kind of ran away with it at that point. But,
Exactly.
But
so,
also,
I mean,
that was a funky game, dude. You got how many wild pitches were in that game?
Oh, well, the Cubs set a major league record by throwing 5 in 1 inning.
5 wild pitches in 1 inning.
In 1 inning.
And then they had the balk to tie the game, or to give us the lead. That was the weirdest balk I've seen in a long time, because he immediately knew that he had balked.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as he did that move, it was one of those things where he just completely brain farted and forgot the rules of how you're supposed to make a move towards. I think he was making a move towards second or first. I don't even know where he was making a move to.
He was to first, but he jumped off the rubber.
Yeah.
And turned around and faked the throw. And
it was
like,
the most bizarre thing I've seen from a pitcher in a very long time. I mean, I get the balk where they don't come to a full stop. I get the balk where they kind of slip their back foot a little bit. These types of things are just kind of physical mistakes. This was just a guy who forgot what the rules of pitching were. Just for a split second, completely forgot. And not only that, there was a runner on third when he did it. And I remember...
You can't do that in college. You can't do that in high school. You can't do that in Little League. I have no idea what kind of brain fart he had to where he thought he could hop off the mound and do that.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing was I was at the pool hall, and so I was watching the game, but I was playing. And I look up Posey's at the plate, and I look up and runners on first and third, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a good situation. I think there was nobody out at the time, and I go back down and I shoot a shot, and I get back up and there's a runner on second. Yet the count on Posey is 0-2, and so it takes me a while to even consider the possibility of the balk, because I go, wait, what? I was like, that's got to be a wild pitch. So did Posey? Did Posey swing at a wild pitch, or what happened here? And then finally it dawned on me, balk. Because it's just such a rare play in baseball. And then I saw the replay and I was like, holy crap, that was awful. So got a feel for that guy. I mean, obviously you don't want to be doing that, and that's going to haunt him for a little while. That's a kangaroo court situation right there. So anyway, the Giants, comeback kids, got to feel good about that. Let's talk about the Dodgers and the Padres real quick. I know this is a Giants podcast, but this greatly affects our Giants season. Yeah, this greatly affects our Giants season. So for those of you who don't know, which if you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure you know, Dodgers are playing the Padres. You got Greinke on the mound, and you got Carlos Quentin at the plate. Carlos Quentin and Greinke apparently have some history, where Greinke's hit him, I think, twice in the past. But there's another thing, too. There's another wrinkle to this, whereas Carlos Quentin is the guy who's been hit the most in, the last 3 years or something, right? He's been hit 100-plus times. I think it's 109, 110 times as a batter. So there's something he's doing. I mean, we all remember Craig Biggio, right? Craig Biggio used to get hit constantly. And Craig Biggio would lean into pitches. He wore that elbow pad,
the elbow brace,
and he would just kind of stick that elbow out, still turn his shoulders a little bit, but keep the elbow out there and get hit. And this is a tactic, and we know it, and it's fine. People do it, and people get away with it. And umps aren't really going to call it unless it's totally blatant. So if you can kind of figure that way out, and Quentin definitely crowds the plate a little bit. So he's going to get hit a lot, but he gets hit by Greinke, and he pretty much immediately starts moving towards Greinke. Then he decides to charge. Then Greinke, for whatever reason, decides to lower his shoulder into a man who outweighs him by at least 50 or 60 pounds. I don't even know what was going on in his head, that what he should do is stand his ground and lower his shoulder. Then all hell breaks loose. Padres and the Dodgers are going at it. Matt Kemp is livid. Everybody's freaking out. Everybody, bench is clear, all that jazz. And it, after the dust settles a little bit, Kemp decides to incite another bench clearing brawl. They clear again. Then after all that happens, Greinke comes out of the game. He's broken his collarbone, right? Is that right?
Yeah, his left collarbone, his non-pitching collarbone.
Not his pitching arm, but broken his left collarbone, the one that he lowered into Quinn.
Yep.
And so it clearly happened on the collision. And so now he's going to be out for 2 months. So the Dodgers spent quite a bit of money on this man who is now way too much in the first place. Now he's out for 2 months. And this severely hurts the Dodgers' chances of at least contending until the first half of the season is over. Now, obviously, like, if they can find a way to just stay close when he comes back, whatever, could be fine. But the fact is, I mean, they lost, at least like $10 million of this year on this guy. And, Mattingly was pissed. Mattingly basically came out and said, Quentin should be suspended for as long as Greinke is out.
Yeah.
Chad, give me your take on that statement, first of all. I want to hear what you think.
Reaction. I mean, they can't start doing that. They can't start punishing players in any sport to match the length of an injury. I mean, that's not their intent. His intent was not to injure him. I mean, someone could argue against that and say, well, what are you talking about? He charged him. Well, yeah, but Greinke didn't try to defend himself necessarily. He lowered himself and, it was kind of like a linebacker taking out a wide receiver coming across the middle or something. You can't do that. I mean, Carlos Quentin was a jackass for what he did, but Greinke was, hey, I'm Macho Man as well. It's unfortunate. I mean, what happens if a player takes out another guy, he throws him to the ground and he ruptures his ACL and he's out for a year and a half? Or his rotator cuff gets torn or his elbow and he needs Tommy John surgery and he's out for that long. You can't start doing that. You can't start matching suspensions with injuries because that's not what the calculation is about. I mean, the player isn't going out there saying, I'm going to try to take this guy out for 18 weeks or something. And that's not what they're trying to do. So
no, absolutely.
It was an asinine statement by him, but at the same time, I understand.
Well, he was upset.
As a manager, yeah, he's going to be upset. I mean, if,
He was upset in the same way Bruce Bochy was upset about Scott Cousins and said that's a dirty play and we should, do something about the rules. He's looking out for his own guy.
But he did not say we should suspend Scott Cousins for 6 months.
And this is the problem with that statement is it. You walk a thin line here, between, okay, so if he charges the mound, he should get suspended for the amount of time the guy gets injured. Well, okay, so if Scott Cousins, crashes the plate when he doesn't have to, that's a dirty play. He should get suspended for the rest of the year. It's like, when do we say, like, well, this was a clean play? If Matt Holliday knocks over Scudero and Scudero has to come out of the game in the fifth inning, Matt Holliday should have to come out of the game in the fifth inning. Like, where do you kind of stop with this? And when is it's just a judgment call at that point, Yeah. And so It's just, look, this is baseball. These are guys playing baseball. People get hurt. And I'm sorry, but I got in an argument about this on Reddit where I said, somebody said, I agree with Mattingly. And this is in the Giants subreddit. And I said, look, if you agree with Mattingly, that's fine. But, you can say that that's not a baseball play because he's charging the mound. But the thing is that charging the mound kind of is a baseball play. I mean, that's been around forever. You get hit. You get hit by a pitch. If a pitcher never has to worry about someone charging the mound.
Yep.
So, like, let's say that charging the mound means like you're going to get suspended and it's going to be terrible for you. So no one can ever charge the mound. Now every pitcher's just going to bean everybody they freaking want. It's like,
and that's the problem. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't kind of remove one aspect without removing the other thing. And baseball, in my mind, kind of polices itself. You bean me, I come after you. You do something against my team, the other team throws at you. That's kind of the policing of baseball. The unwritten way that they do it, and I think that's part of the game. I think that is a baseball play. So you can't just start removing this stuff, you also can't start saying that an injury is equal to a suspension just based on, or a suspension is equal to an injury based on the amount of time of the injury. I mean, that's just,
this is not
ridiculous.
Eye for an eye. No, this is not what it is.
No, exactly. And by the way, you know what Greinke should do is he should watch how Mike Krukow handles when someone charges the mound. You should watch Winfield charge Mike Krukow. What you do is you sidestep and you wait for your catcher to take care of the problem for you, because that's what the catcher's job is. The catcher's job is to protect you in that situation. And A.J. Ellis was heading out there, dude. A.J. Ellis was heading out there. All he had to do was step aside and let A.J. Ellis, and all of a sudden both teams are going to come together and no one's going to get hurt, you know? Instead, he decided to lower his shoulder like an idiot. And so I'm sorry, I just don't really feel bad for the guy.
One of these days, I want to see a guy charge the mound and the pitcher just turn around and run to center field.
I swear this has happened before. I swear to God, I've seen pitchers just say no.
That would be freaking hilarious, though.
Dude, look up Kruko getting charged by Winfield. I don't know if you've seen that before.
I have a long time ago, yeah.
Go check it out again, because Kruko sidesteps him and then stands there as the whole team comes to get, like, both benches clear. It's amazing. Like, Kruko just completely avoids all of it. He's just, nope, I'm not doing that. You know, it's pretty good. All right, so that's a big story, and everyone's kind of had, you know, an opinion about it, and it's definitely going to affect how the NL West shakes out. So, you know, we'll see what happens. 2 months without Greinke.
Okay, I just looked at it.
Oh, you just looked at it? Yeah. Kruko knows how to handle it when a big man comes at him. Because, I mean, come on, Winfield's a big man, dude. If he's coming at you, are you going to try to stand your ground, or are you going to get the hell out of there?
But his body language, he just stands there like a statue and waits till the very last second, like a bullfighter. And he's like, ole.
He puts one hand on his hip, and he's just kind of, oh, here he comes. Oh, well, this is going to get interesting. And then, whoop, I'm out of here. And then his catcher takes him down. It's amazing. All right, so let's move on to the big question. And we've talked about this guy on the podcast so many times, kind of makes my head spin.
I know.
But I'm sorry. This is the big question with the Giants, and
it's all over KNBR too. I mean, no one can stop talking about it.
No. So Timmy Lincecum, here we go. 3 starts. Pretty much he started off just the way he did last year. Go ahead and walk us through some of these stats, Chad.
All right. So we all know he had his career worst ERA and the worst ERA of all qualifying
starters
last year.
Yeah.
And he's already on that trajectory again in terms of ERA. However, here's the thing. His ERA is high right now at 5.68, but his batting average against is only 2.17. The biggest problem is his control, which again was the problem last year. It's control of his fastball. He's walked 12 batters in 16 innings, so his whip is over 1.5. That's 16.2% of the hitters he's faced. He's walked, including the pitcher a few times.
He's walked a bunch of pitchers, dude.
The leadoff hitter against the Cubs the other day. All that stuff. The only thing I could say is that the average against, contact percentage are all similar to Cy Young years, but his batting average of batted balls in play last year was over 300. I think it was 309.
So
this year it's only 227.
Yeah.
So that's the lowest of his career too. Now this is really early and everything like that, but again, it's the big inning that keeps killing him. It's a 5-run second versus Colorado, but he ended up throwing 6 innings and only allowed 1 more run, and then the 4-run first against Chicago. And he ended up lasting 5, not allowing another run. So he has the ability to shut teams down if he's not wild. He has this ability, but again, he lets things get out of hand in one particular inning. He doesn't know, or he's just has extremely bad luck. He doesn't know how to shut it down. And those big innings killed him last year, and they're already killing him this year.
You know, I got to say, it feels a little to me like Timmy gets into the stretch, runners on base, and can't fight out of it, you know. And there was a time when, you know, I'm sure you remember, but it was always what Kruko was talking about is that he can't hold runners on. He's terrible at holding runners on.
He's horrible, yeah.
Because he's just going to try to strike everybody out. So runners get on base, he just tries to strike you out. Well, he doesn't quite have the tools to do that anymore. So he's got to figure out another way to get out of an inning when runners get on base. And right now, he just doesn't seem to be able to figure that out. Now, here's the thing. There's some people who are going, okay, yeah, it's early. The problem is it's not really early if you think about the fact that he had a full year like this.
Mm-hmm.
So a full year like this, and then the next year starts like this, you know, we're in Barry Zito territory now, where it's like multiple bad years in a row. And we can't just give this guy a pass forever. I mean, at some point, you got to perform, you know. And the fact is, 2 starters on this staff have worse ERAs than Tim, which is
that's true.
A little scary. But Matt Cain had 1 terrible start, and he's actually been decent in the other two. Vogelsong has had two, pretty bad starts and also found a way to pull out of one of them, like basically one bad inning and then kind of worked his way through it. But Timmy's just looked bad all three starts, right? He hasn't actually lost a game yet, though.
No, he hasn't.
Which is a testament to the Giants' offense at this point.
Yeah, he's 1-0.
But the thing is, it's a continuation of last year in my mind. It's not. We can't say early right now about this. This is continued on now for a year plus. So to me, this is not something you can blame on. It's early. He's figuring it out. I don't think that's a viable excuse.
No, I know. I hear the excuse from Bochy about his blister and that set him back a few starts in spring training. He'll figure it out. But yeah, I agree with you on that aspect, that it is a continuation of a trend from last year. So it's not just a sample size of 3, really. It's a sample size of 30.
Yeah, exactly.
Consider all the starts that have been continuous now. If he could just figure out how to control that fastball a little bit more and not throw 4 wide ones to the pitcher, which just tells you that he really doesn't know where the ball's going, even when he's throwing strikes. I think that's what it tells you, is that if he throws a strike on the inside corner or down the middle, maybe he was trying to go low and outside, but it still was a strike.
Absolutely true. I see a bunch of times where he's gotten pitches called for strikes that were away from the target.
Yeah, with Sanchez setting up inside and it goes outside or vice versa, and you're like, well, he didn't hit his target.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's now time to play a little armchair manager, and I've got actually 2 questions for armchair manager this week. First of all, do we keep running Sanchez out there with Timmy? Is Sanchez the problem, or is it Timmy?
No, it's not Sanchez. It's not Sanchez. I mean, I know he's kind of stabbing at balls, and he's not the best at framing pitches, but the few pitches that he might lose from being called a strike is not making the difference. So that's not the issue. I'm just trying to figure out, and we all know there's got to be an underlying story. This came up multiple times last year with, Hector being Timmy's personal catcher, and why doesn't Posey catch Timmy? Of course, it got into the postseason, and Posey's catching Timmy, and it's one of those things where Bochy's right now, he's just saying, oh, well, we just want to we just want to rest Posey and give him that 5th day off, and da-da-da. And it's like, well, really? Only on Timmy's start days?
Only Timmy, yeah. That I'm sorry, sense. That does not make sense. It should be day game after night game. It should be after 4 games in a row with no off day. Mm-hmm. It should be those days. It should have no contingency on who the starter is. And I get that, I do see the validity to saying, well, we want to get that one guy if he's always going to pitch. If Posey has to have a day off every 4 days, we want one guy who gets a bit of a camaraderie with our backup starter or backup catcher. Like, you remember Jonathan Sanchez always used to throw to Whiteside, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It makes sense because if you're going to give your main catcher, and at the time, it was Molina, Benjamin Molina, who was older. There's different reasons for resting him, but he's older and he's slow, and he's just a guy who needs a day off. But we give him a day off, and Sanchez seems to work well with Whiteside. I don't think at this point you can say that Lincecum seems to work well with Hector Sanchez. There's no evidence to support that.
None at all. No, they've already broken down the stats from last year. Granted, the sample size was a little bit lower for Posey starts, but he was actually a little bit better statistically when Posey was catching. So it has nothing to do with the performance on the field. I'm suspecting it only has to do with a clubhouse conversation.
Yeah, there's something going on here. And maybe it's Timmy was the face, is no longer the face. I don't know. I can't say that there's nothing to that. I cannot, in my mind, believe that there's nothing to that. I'm sorry. As a fan, we all notice it. As someone who pays very close attention to the Giants, it is noticeable. And you can't just sweep this under the rug anymore. We're too smart for that. I'm sorry, guys.
Now, my only assumption is that it's probably coming from Timmy. because I don't see why it would come from Buster. Buster's just catching, doing his job.
Buster doesn't care. Yeah.
No, he doesn't care. And, I don't know if it's about the face of the franchise or whatever. Maybe, he just felt like he was more comfortable. And maybe that's legitimate. Maybe for some reason, psychologically, he felt more comfortable when Buster was not catching for whatever reason. And maybe management just is listening to him saying, hey, man, throw him a bone, do whatever we can to get his mental aspect back in this game so we can get the Timmy back of old. Now, granted, that hasn't shown up on the field, but maybe they're just still continuing with this, saying they're trying to do anything they can to make him feel comfortable. And if he is more comfortable out there, with Hector or not Posey, then that's what they're going to do. And they're just not going to admit it because that would be a huge controversy.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results, right?
Very true, yeah.
So isn't that what this is? To me, this feels like insanity. This just feels to me like, look, Buster Posey is a better defensive catcher. Buster Posey is a better hitter in the lineup. Buster Posey gives you a better chance to win. Tim Lincecum needs some other reason to say that Hector Sanchez is his personal catcher other than comfort, because right now, whatever reasons he may pretend to have, this is not working. It's just not working. And
Hector made you feel more comfortable with that 4-run first and that 5-run second.
That was real
Colorado?
Comfortable, right? Yeah. Man,
he's
that was like a blanket. That was like a blanket wrapped around my cold body. Just so much
you were
comfort.
So comfortable. You've only walked 12 batters in 16 innings. Oh man,
it's so ridiculous to me. And at this point, it's like, just put up or shut up, dude. It's Bruce Bochy needs to just go, look, I'm the manager, and Posey's your catcher, and I don't give a crap what you have to say about it.
I hate to say this because we all love Timmy for what the kind of duty is, the image he's brought to the franchise, the 2 Cy Youngs, the 2 World Series, the performance in the playoffs. It goes on and on and on. I mean, he has absolutely been the most dominant pitcher.
He's given this team so much, for sure.
Since Perry and Marichal and those kind of guys. I mean, his name's up there in the Cy Young list. It's so cool to see that on the park. But now that we see this trend, and it's, every year he's been getting a little bit worse starting in 2010. Not that he was bad in 2010 or 2011, not at all, but he was declining. He was downward trajectory. And then 2012, of course, he hits a pit. In 2013, he started or continued that trend. I don't think there's any magical cure. I really do think he's done.
Yeah.
I think
it's sad to say. It's sad to say, but
no. My prediction is that he's going to have a 4.5 to 5 ERA this year. He's going to lose 12, 13, 14 games, and he's going to sign with someone else next year. And it's going to be sad to see him go, but I just don't see him turning it around. I mean, I know people are probably going to be screaming at the podcast right now, going, "What the hell? It's only 3 starts," but. Tell me why he's going to change.
Yeah. No,
show me where he's going to change.
I got to be honest, dude. I kind of agree with you. And here was my second question. Does the bullpen save Timmy? Is there a Dennis Eckersley, Dave Righetti resurrection in the works for this man?
Not with the Giants and not this year or next year, no. Okay. The only way I would see that happening because he has too big of an ego. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean like, the machismo ego.
Sure.
But I just mean every player has an ego.
Here's the thing. I think it's not like ego. It's just he expects more from himself. He expects the best from himself.
Yeah, I meant it in a good way. He's always been a starter. He's always excelled at being a starter. And yeah, he's excelled at being independent in the playoffs. But he's not 35 years old or anything. I mean, he is young. And I think there's no way for him to even accept that challenge or that role during the regular season. I think it's going to take him 3 or 4 years of very subpar performance and being with another team until finally, I wouldn't call it hitting rock bottom, but hitting a point where he has an epiphany. And he's just like, all right, this just isn't working. And maybe he works with someone and he does become the next Dennis Eckersley or something. I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be with the Giants.
I tend to agree with you, but I would love to see him do it because think about Timmy as a closer. I mean, with the stuff he has and being able to just blow it out for an inning, it could be pretty special. So
yeah, if he wanted to ramp it up, I mean, he's shown it in the playoffs where he was hitting 93.
Yeah,
I mean, he can do it if he has one inning to kind of just let it rip.
Yeah,
and he was just so focused. I mean, he was just wicked.
No, it was nasty. It was absolutely nasty, and
which I think Shows you right there it's mental. For whatever reason, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it.
We all remember game 1, 14 strikeouts against the Braves.
Against the Braves, yeah.
And we all remember that, and we know what he's capable of. And it's terrible to see him not being able to do it, And so whatever it is, whether it's the Giants or not, whether it's not this year, whether it's 2 years from now, whether he has terrible years for a couple of years to go, I would love to see him at some point find success again, because I love the dude. I think he's amazing. He's done so many great things for this team, and I have so many great memories of games where he was just unstoppable. He was the guy for so long that we thought was going to have the perfect game, no-hitter, whatever, because he would just get in these grooves, this state of mind where he was just lights out Timmy. And, and then he proved that he could do it in big games, and we just all kind of, for whatever reason, thought that was going to last forever, and it just hasn't turned out that way. So,
no.
Look, I'm hopeful, but I also agree with you. I think this is it. I think we've seen the end of big time Timmy Jim. All right, let's move on. What do we got coming up, Chad?
All right, so this week we have 3 on the road back in Milwaukee, and then coming back home for 3 against the Padres. So, this is, again, another six games in a row here that the Giants should get healthy against. I mean, there's no reason they shouldn't take 4 out of 6.
I completely agree. I think we should definitely take 2 out of 3 against the Padres, if not sweep. And Milwaukee, we could go 5 out of 6 on this. I clearly see that as
within the realm of possibility.
I mean, let's just keep it rolling. That's all I got to say. All right, time to tweet at me, brah. And I don't have one, actually, because I didn't look one up.
Because no one was funny or interesting on Twitter.
Because no one's ever been funny or interesting on Twitter. I'm sorry, guys. No. You guys all just quit. Just
140
quit
characters.
Trying.
You can't be funny in 140
just
characters.
Just quit trying.
Okay, so no, seriously, I checked my phone and I actually did not hear about the Greinke beaning or the Quentin coming out and breaking his collarbone until I was checking Twitter. This is literally the first information I got, and I still don't know if they meant to do this, if it was a play on words or they just slipped. But it's from MLB, the authentic MLB Twitter at MLB, breaking in all caps. Zach Greinke has fractured left collarbone, blah, 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 blah. So it's like,
wow.
Did you guys mean to do that? Breaking. As a lot of people retweet that going, breaking Zach Greinke. And that's it. Nothing else.
All right, I am going to do a tweet at me, brah. Just because I want to kind of hype someone who we're going to have on the show next week. And this is actually kind of cool. This guy, his Twitter handle is at 2outhits. That's the number 2, outhits. He just tweeted, let me see. This is very recent. This is within the last half hour. And this is kind of interesting because we were just talking about this. He tweeted, I can never be angry with Tim Lincecum. He brought 2 Cy Youngs and 2 World Series trophies to the Giants. I feel for him more than anything. Not funny, not clever.
No, but I think it's how we all
echoing
feel.
Our sentiments almost exactly. We're actually going to have this guy on our show next week. His name is Eric Nathanson. He's never been to San Francisco, never been to AT&T Park. He's a diehard Giants fan, and that is weird to me. So I'm really interested in hearing this guy's story. So he does a blog called 2outhits. It's 2outhits.com. So we're going to have this guy on the show next week, and that's interesting. I'm so curious to talk to this guy.
It's very unusual.
I cannot imagine how.
The only thing I can think of is that it would be almost similar to some rabid soccer fans here in the States that have never been to Europe, and yet they're
sure
big fan of Manchester.
Yeah, they love Man U or whatever. Yeah. But also you got love for Pat the Bat. Shout out, who lives in Canada and is like diehard Giants fan. I think the Giants are one of those teams. Like if you didn't grow up as a baseball fan, look, my stepdad is a Cardinals fan because he grew up in Arizona when there was no teams there. Mm-hmm. And so the Cardinals played spring training games in Arizona. And so he just kind of picked a team, and he was just kind of just a fan of the Cardinals just 'cause, it's like He was a Stan Musial fan, I guess, was really what it was. He really liked Stan Musial. So, but now he's like an old man who's still a fan of the Cardinals and never lived in St. Louis his whole life. And
one thing I never thought I'd see, though, I've seen Giants fans, even before they won the World Series, take over, Qualcomm Stadium or Petco Park.
Well, Qualcomm, yeah, for sure.
And then even at times L.A., down in Chavez Ravine.
But Chicago.
I've never seen that in Chicago. That was insane.
Let's go Giants, loud and clear.
That was awesome.
Also,
I know it's a lot of bandwagon fans and some true fans, but man, that was awesome to see. And then Hunter Pence hitting that home run.
Yeah, and then the crowd went crazy.
Yeah, the crowd went crazy. And those are all the Giants fans. Of course, the Cubs fans are sitting there just weeping in their beers.
Yeah, and they're all a bunch of like Chicago dudes, just so pissed. They're like, "What?
All that
How?
orange in Chicago?
Yeah.
That was
amazing. That was amazing.
It was cool though.
Yeah. Goo goo gaga baby boy. Did you see that?
That was a whole inning of that.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
That was the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
I was listening to that here at home, and it was going on for like 5 minutes, and it was like a total earwig to me. And I was like, dude, these guys have it's got to be driving Kruk and Kuip insane.
They finally started talking about it. Yeah, they weren't talking about it. They were like, I think this chant is fueled by beer. What do you think?
He's like, I think we're listening to the worst chant ever in baseball. And I don't know what it means.
Goo goo gaga baby boy. I have no clue. But all right. So let's move on. Let's do our new favorite guys. Chad, go ahead and start us off. Who you got?
Carlos Quentin.
Oh. Hey, ballsy.
Anything to help. A honorable mention, though, I would say Zito. That dude, we've all been doubting him. I know we're doing the same thing with Lincecum right now, but we're, doubted him the first 6 years of his contract. And last year, statistically, it was just like the year before, but then he gets in the playoffs and it's just money. And now he's just, boom, 14 innings, no runs. What the hell's going on with this dude?
3 for 4? Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, but know
anyway,
what?
I like to see it.
Don't question it. Just roll with it.
Yeah,
just roll with it. Right now, if you look at the most likely Cy Young winners, he is second to Clayton Kershaw.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kershaw's a little sick right now, but
Kershaw is a ridiculous man, and I hate him. I hate him so much. I'm going to hate on someone else later, though, but another Dodger. My new favorite guy is an old favorite guy, but he's my favorite again, and that's Hunter Pence.
Mm-hmm.
God, I love the man. I love to watch this man play baseball, and I'm so excited we got like another 150 plus games to watch this guy play.
It was just so sweet. I mean, here we are. It's a regular season game. It's nothing like the playoffs last year when he jacked everybody up. He hits that home run. Not only that, but he's coming across home plate at full speed. Speed. And he's just going, yeah. He's just like yelling his brains out.
He was friggin' psyched.
Streaking down in the dugout, just high-fiving everybody. This dude cares so much about this team and helping them win. It's just so cool to see kind of just old school baseball like this. It's just awesome.
I think something happened when he got here that hadn't happened in his previous locker rooms. I mean, he was a big fan favorite in Philadelphia. He was a big fan favorite in Houston. And the fans love to watch this guy play ball because of just his infectious attitude. It's like we get it. We see it. We wanted him before he came, And you remember, I mean, I talked about this is the guy I want. I want Hunter Pence. We got Beltran. I was like, all right, fine, I'll take Beltran. But damn it, I wanted Hunter Pence. I'm so happy that he's here. And every day that I get to watch him suit up in a Giants uniform just makes me even more happy. And then to have him, and then when he came and he struggled, I was like, I don't care, man. I just don't care. I like the guy. I'm cool with it. And it's paying off, man. And I love to watch this man play baseball. I just love it.
He is fun to watch.
Wow player, too, by the way. Wow player.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that.
Yeah, so there you go.
Still bummed we didn't realize he was standing behind us during media day, and we just never even got to him.
We never even talked to him. How did that happen?
I didn't even know he was there. I didn't even believe Sam, and then I saw the video highlights that night, and there he was, standing in there being interviewed. I was like, damn it, how the hell did we miss him?
Never saw. He must have been there for like 2 minutes or something.
Yeah, seriously.
But anyway, we will get our chance with Hunter Pence. We will talk to this man. All right, so let's hate on somebody. I'll start us off since you started on the last one. I'm going to hate on Matt Kemp. I'm going to hate on him because you need to shut your goddamn mouth, Matt Kemp. You didn't get beaned. You didn't get charged. Nothing. You didn't do nothing. All right, look, I get it. You're fired up. Your teammate got hurt. I got that. But, dude, really? You're going to just start another bench-clearing brawl? You're going to take it to the parking lot? You're going to act like a little bitch when that wasn't your fight? Like, you just need to shut your goddamn mouth. And also, you suck at baseball right now, so in your face.
Yeah, he's also cold right now, which is nice to see.
Look, he's a great player. He's a great player. But God damn it, I hate Matt Kemp. All right, there you go. That's all I got on that.
No problem.
I don't think any more needs to be said. All right, who do you want to hate on?
Carlos Quentin.
Oh! I think this is a first in the history of TortureCast. 45 episodes. We've never had somebody hate on their favorite guy.
That's right. You love him for taking out Zach Greinke, and you hate him for how he did it.
That's true. That is true. I mean, it was
Bush League baseball. It was
pretty
just
lame
crap.
of him.
He threw a high fastball up in his shoulder. It was on a 2-2 count?
3-2 count with two outs and a 1-run ball game.
He's not going to be trying to hit you after a full count.
Anybody trying to hit you? Is anybody going to ever try to hit you on that count? No, never. Never once happened.
No, so he created something out of nothing, and as a result, he injures a player for 8 weeks, and so it's just Bush League, and
he gets suspended for 8 games and hurts his own team. So, I got to say, look, the Padres look lost when it comes to baseball.
Look pretty bad right now.
When it comes to baseball, they look like they have no idea what's going on, and maybe there's some frustration boiling around that as well. I mean, you're losing and you get hit and it hurt and you're mad, but dude, you're a professional baseball player. Suck it up and walk to first base. We saw Posey the other night get hit. What does Posey do? Posey yells an obscenity, puts his head down, and walks to first base. Mm-hmm. That's what you do. Look, no one's trying to hit you, dude. And when you are getting hit on purpose, you will know it. You will know it. That situation was not it. So,
that was not it at all. No. So, douchebag.
Douchebag. Hate on that guy. All right, Chad, why will we win it all?
We talked about it already tonight, but man, comeback wins. If they can rack up, a dozen or two of these throughout the season, that's going to be, I'm not going to call it the difference. There's a lot of things that can make the difference, but that will absolutely make it so much easier to get to the 95, 96, 98 wins they might need this year with a stronger LA team.
I mean, with a strong LA team,
Arizona team.
We got 2 teams that I think could really give us a run for our money. Not only that, but we got a lot of other strong teams that we're going to have to play this year. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be tough for us to get to that number.
We've lost Houston, so.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have Houston to beat up anymore. But, it's just, it's true. I think to win the West is going to take 95. And that's a tough number to get to. That's a lot of wins in a baseball season. So, you're talking about 20-plus games over 500. That's really, really difficult to get to. So the Giants are going to have to pull it together, and they're going to have to really make it happen. So
and their pen's been strong. I mean, they've had a couple little hiccups, but for the most part, like Casillas has been dominant. Affelt's had a couple hiccups. Romo was lights out until the last one, but I think it's just because he was being used so many days in a row, and he's going to be fine.
Romo's one was also the day when the ball was flying like crazy. So. But it's true. You can think of these comeback wins as almost like 2 games in the win column because it's a game you should have lost that you then won. So instead of 4 and let's say it would have made you 7-4, or if you had lost instead. Well,
so they had those 3 wins,
right?
Those 3 wins that they came back from, they would be 6-7 right now instead of 9-4.
Yeah, exactly. So it's huge. It's amazingly huge if you think about those. Those are turning around a loss. So there you go. I think that's a great call. I am going to say we're going to win it all because we just don't lose. We refuse to lose. We'll never lose again. It's not going to happen. Giants are. We're going to go. Let's see.
Setting the record for wins.
158-4.
No problem.
158-4. I mean, look, you go 5. We don't care. We don't care. Look, you came back and you scored 3 on us and got a 1-run lead. Yeah, we don't care. Hunter Pence is coming up. It's all good. So yeah, I think the Giants are just one of those teams this year. Not that we're gonna have we're not gonna win 110. Okay, we're not gonna be the Mariners,
Nothing like that.
But the thing is, we're a team that's not going to die. And I haven't seen this team give up except for 14-2 loss. And this team has not given up, and they will not give up. And for over a course of a 162-game season, they're never going to give up again, because all of these guys were in the dugout when we were down, 2-0 against the Reds, 3-1 against the Cardinals, and they all remember, 21 out of 25 of those guys remember what happened after that. So none of these guys are ever going to count themselves out ever again. All 21 of those guys who came back are all going to, you don't want to play poker against these guys. You don't want to play backgammon against these guys. You don't want to play Monopoly against these guys. They're not going to give up just because they got everything mortgaged. No, they're going to fight it out. You're going to have to play 5 more hours of Monopoly against them, even though you have Boardwalk and Park Place. It's just not going to happen. They're just never going to give up. None of these guys ever again. So we will win it all. All right. That's going to do it for episode 45. That was, we rocketed through that, and that was fantastic. I've been begging to talk about baseball all this week, because these games have been fantastic, and this team has been looking really good. So really stoked to be back doing the podcast weekly. We're going to be doing this every week again. I know we were lulling for a while there, but season has started. Again. Season has started. We are starting, and we're not going to stop. We're going to win it all as well. If you want to follow us, you can follow us on Twitter. @TortureCast is the collective Twitter. You can also follow each one of us individually. Ben Lee was not here, but you should follow him. He is @FriedDuck. Chad King is @ChadK21. Me, Willie Dills, is @WillieDills. And you can also check us out. TortureCast.com is the blog. You can like us on Facebook. You can donate to us using PayPal. You can find us on Podomatic. You can do all those things. Please do. Support us on iTunes. Leave us 5-star reviews if you would like. If you don't want to leave a 5-star review, just don't leave any review at all, okay? Just, move on. It's all good. And we'll see you next week for episode 46. Cannot wait. Once again, for the absent Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills. We'll see you next time. Boom.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter @TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills, saying we'll see you next time.